my husband came from America and we got married, he had to leave as soon as he finished high school because his father died when he was junior in high school. And he had 2 sisters and 2 brothers to support. So I was home. And then that year, because the family came twice, first time I was 10th grade, second time I was senior, but he couldn't come. The family came to ask, and my mom said, I'm not going to mail my daughter. I don't know who this guy is, because she didn't want me to marry. We have a saying, when you marry somebody, you marry the family.
Right.
You don't just marry the person.
Imagine having direct access to someone who's navigated life's toughest terrains and come out stronger. Someone who's been there, done that, and can guide you with empathy, experience, and honesty. This isn't just advice. It's a lifeline, a strategy session, a chance to learn from my journey so you can accelerate yours. Without the ability to be self-aware and introspective, the ability for you to get to where you want to go, nearly impossible.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the David Guttman podcast. I have a really, really special guest today, my mother-in-law. And I'm going to introduce you as Zahra Raheb. Am I saying that right? Your dad's last name? How do you?
That's my Maulawizada, yeah.
Pronounce it for me?
Maulawizada.
Raheb, which means son of scholar.
Scholar, yeah.
Yeah. So originally from born in Afghanistan, right? Maybe talk a little bit about your childhood, and you grew up in a really big family, and maybe just talk a little bit about that, and maybe how that sort of helped shape your view of the world.
I grew up with 5 sisters and a brother. My dad was a physician. My mom was a stay-home mom. My grandma lived with us when we were younger. My aunt, my uncle, and one of my cousins. We all lived in the same house. So
Wait, how many in one house?
we lived in a big house back then before my uncle got married, before my aunt got married. They used to live with us. My grandma always lived with us.
So how many people are we talking about in one house?
We're talking about 7 of us, my parents, 9, 10, 11, 13 people.
Oh my God. That's a lot of people.
13, yeah. And then we lived in a big house back then. And then after my oldest sister passed, my mom couldn't live there anymore, so we moved to another place.
Now, your dad wasn't just a doctor. He was really well known, and there was like multiple facilities that he was responsible for.
Yes, 3 major hospitals. At the beginning, he was chief of staff in one hospital, which was the university hospital right across from university. And later on, he was head of 3 major hospitals for a long time. Then when my dad came to America, he actually went to Pakistan for a while to come as refugee. And he waited there, I think, 3 years or more.
Wow.
Until he could come. Because of my grandma, everybody left, but he couldn't leave my grandma alone. He had to leave with my grandmother.
So your father and his mom were in Pakistan together?
Yeah, they were together.
Wow. Well, so your daughter Sina, my wife, told me a heartbreaking story about your sister that I think I have this right, was murdered by one of the, was it a patient or someone at one of the hospitals that you're?
I was 9 years old when she passed. It was 1969. And October of 1969, when she was fasting. When she broke her fast, I remember she had my sister Shakila to bring her water. She gave her water. She took pills. To this day, I don't know how many or what. And we were having dinner downstairs. The dining room was downstairs, the whole family. My dad wasn't home because he normally worked late at private clinic. The rest was home. my uncle, my aunt, and all of a sudden, my other sister, Mina, with my aunt, came downstairs and said she's nauseous. And everybody rushed upstairs, and my uncle was holding her, bring her to take her to the hospital. And I still remember that day like it was yesterday.
Can
It
imagine.
stayed with me. She said, "Oh, uncle, I can walk. You don't have to carry me." My uncle was really worried. He said, "No, no, no, I'm going to carry you." They took her to the hospital. And what I heard, there was the doctor that was there. They cleaned her stomach and everything. My grandma was in the room with her, and my mom was in next room. And they said she was okay. And then they gave her a shot. The doctor in charge there gave her a shot. They could never found the bottle. As soon as they gave her the shot, she passed. So
And-
I still don't know.
Oh, because Sina seemed to think that there was someone who had
Someone, they
some enemy
say-
of your dad's or something.
Yeah, the thing is, we know because there was a lot of thing between the communism, communists,
Communism, right.
Afghans.
Mhm.
They were having these riots and stuff, and one of their guys came to the hospital. My dad was in charge at the time, and he was in a bad shape. He died. So people blamed my dad because of our last name is like Muslim.
Right, right.
So they thought he was in charge and he died, and this doctor was communist. So that's what I heard. I still don't know the honest truth because my mom never told us.
Okay.
My dad never talked about it. And when at this time when she was at the hospital, we only had one phone line. It was at my mom and dad's bedroom upstairs. So me, Trina, and Shakila, Matin and Friba was very little. Friba was like 2 years old. Matin was 4. I was 9. Shakila was 11. Trina was 12. With nanny, we had a nanny there with us. We went upstairs to Mina left, by the way. We realized Mina's best friend came with her father, and they took Mina out of the house. We didn't know what was going on. We were worried. We went upstairs to call the hospital, see what's going on, and the room was locked. We couldn't get in. So we went to our neighbor's house to call the hospital because since we were kids,
Right.
when we called, nobody gave us the right answer. They said, yeah, she's okay. All of a sudden, because they lived next door to us, we were not wall to wall, but there was just a little alley in between us. We heard Shakila's scream. Shakila was at home. Me and Trina and the nanny went to make a phone call. We heard her scream. We ran back in the house. They were carrying Sina's body. My grandma was fixing the floor, the mattress, to put her on the mattress. And that's...
Can I imagine how heartbreaking that must have
it
been?
was...
Yeah. Now,
I could never get over it for a very long time until my husband died, to be honest.
Well, we'll come to that because that's
I
the
couldn't
whole.
even talk about
honestly,
it.
like you lived like 5 lifetimes, Zahra. Honestly, well, so and so your sister that passed away was named Sina,
Named Sina.
and then if I remember correctly, my wife Sina had told me that I don't know if it was when you were pregnant with her or maybe shortly after she was born, but there was some belief in the family that maybe she was the reincarnation.
The thing is, they named my sister Sina born a year after.
Right.
She stayed in my mom's belly for 1 year.
Okay.
It was very hard for her to, because of all this stress my
Right.
mom was in. So when Sina was born, my mom with my sister Shakila, everybody bought her gift from the crib to everything.
Right.
I didn't get nothing because they already had everything. My mom flew from California. I lived in Jersey. And it was close to Sina's birth. And that night, my mom went to bed and she said, Wake me up if you go to the hospital. I said, okay, I will. So it's 1 a.m. I have labor pain. I woke up my mom. I said, Mom, I'm going to the hospital. And she woke up and she said, Sina came back. I just had a dream that the nanny, her name was Ashur, she took him and bring him back. And I hug her and kiss her like 2 years old, like a child.
Right.
And I'm like, where did you take my baby? And she said, oh, I just took her to the other side of water. Here, I brought it back to you. She said, Sina's coming back. Name her Sina. I was going to name her Ruby or Rebecca.
Right.
That's why her middle name is Ruby. So I named her Sina. My mom was there with the birth and everything. Shakila and my mom. They fixed everything for her and she thought Sina's back. So I didn't think much about it.
Right.
Until Sina was like, I moved to California when she was 11 months old. I was pregnant with Sony. I couldn't take care of 4 kids all by myself, so I had to move to California, be close to family. And Sina was about 2 years old. She always went to my dad's room, gave her pencil and pen to write and draw. And one day Shakila went to my dad's room, asking him something. My dad wasn't like, he wasn't there. He didn't pay attention. And later on, he said, you guys are not going to believe it. I was reading paper. The paper was, Anis was Afghani paper back home. It was that paper I was reading. But the paper in California was called Umid. He said the paper was Anis paper. I was reading Anis paper. Sina was sitting there and writing. And the way Sina wrote, she even wrote on my dad's, we call it Taskra, the ID, 0001, 0001. When she started, that's how she was. And she wrote the same way. 00, no kids that 0001. My dad said, this is Sina. Now I believe it 100%.
Yeah.
This is Sina came back to life.
So my wife is it's
my sister. So
your
that's
sister.
what my mom and dad believed.
Oh, that's nice, actually.
And the way she is, very sensitive.
Sina
she
was sure
very
is.
sensitive.
Right.
And I don't know, a lot of things. She looks a lot like her. I don't know if she showed you her
I don't think I ever saw a picture, no.
Oh, I show you. I have
Okay.
it. She looks a lot like her, especially the hair.
Right.
And I don't know.
Well, so your family, the Soviets invaded in what, like 72 was it?
78.
78, that's right. And so now your family's very well off. You have this big family. Your family is really well known and well regarded in the country. And the Soviets invade. What was that like for you? And how old were you? So you would have been...
I was 18 when they invaded. I left 1979 was just the beginning. And there was a lot of communist Afghans. They took over. They got rid of the president. They killed him, actually, and his whole family.
Oh, wow.
At the castle, the King Castle, where that's where they lived.
Right.
And they forced us. I was going to college at the time.
Right.
They forced us to walk all the way. It was a very long walk to the castle and show us every room with the blood.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah.
You had to walk to the palace, castle, whatever, and see the blood of the murdered...
See the blood of...
Really?
People that, yeah.
Everyone from the university?
That's why I don't say things that I hear.
Yeah.
I just say things that I see.
I did not know that.
And they took us. That's why it got very scary to everybody.
Sure.
They were... they didn't believe in religion. And Afghan people touch anything, don't touch their religion.
Right.
They're just, that's how they grew up. I respect that.
Right.
Everybody's religion, so the same thing, but they didn't like religious people.
So you grew up Muslim? Were you
I grew up Muslim.
were you practicing? Were you a devout? Did you pray, 5 times a day? And no.
Only in Ramadan.
Mm-hmm.
It was a thing.
Right.
You had to pray 5 times. You had to fast. But when I became teenager, I hated to be hungry. I like to
course.
eat. And there was no food.
Right.
They didn't cook at home. Only my dad, because he was doctor.
Right.
And for doctors, it's not good to fast and they can think because
Right.
they see patients all day.
Right.
My dad, until he was working, he didn't fast. He started fasting when he came to America.
Got it.
And my dad came home for lunch, and lunch was cooked just for him. So they always thought we were all fasting. And I was to the point that I was fasting, but as a teenager, I was smoking.
Right.
So I was going to the balcony and smoke.
Right. Right.
And I really did not like fasting, to be honest. It's good. It's healthy.
Right.
It cleanses your body. And because you don't eat, you don't drink from sunrise to sunset, and you pray 5 times. Yeah, I did pray 5 times for on and off throughout
Right.
my life. And it's good. The thing is, people make big things out of these things. To me, when I think about it, like my dad said, whatever you hear, if it doesn't make sense to you, it's a no religion.
Right.
It's made up because people don't speak Arabic, people don't speak Hebrew
Right.
to understand everything. So we always listen to scholars.
Mm.
But if it doesn't make sense to you, it's man-made.
Yeah, I agree.
Religion
It's
is just
still
a
people.
guide.
Yeah.
Nothing else. So that's my belief always. Like I know fasting is good for your body. But not like in Afghanistan when people broke fast, they eat like pig. That's not right either. Your stomach should shrink. You should eat less. But no,
Right.
people used to make everything.
Well, so
at that
so
time.
when your family, so the Soviets invade, you're having to tour the palace and see all the blood. I can't even wrap my head around that.
That was the
Everyone's
worst time.
terrified.
Yeah.
And so now, is there like a family meeting? Hey, we're gonna go to
the
another
thing is,
country.
at that
Like,
time, that winter actually, my husband came from America, and we got married.
he was
He was in New
Afghani too.
York. He was Afghani.
Right.
He had to leave as soon as he finished high school, 1975, because his father died when he was junior in high school. And he had his mom, 2 brothers, and 2 sisters. One of his sisters was married, one brother was married, but 2 sisters and 2 brothers to support.
He was the oldest?
He was the oldest.
Okay.
So he had to leave.
So he came to the
country,
U.S. to be able to
came
help
New
support.
York to work and support family.
Mm.
And so I was home. And then that year, because the family came twice, once 1976, once when I was senior in high school. The first time I was 10th grade, second time I was senior. But he couldn't come. The family came to ask, and my mom said, I'm not going to mail my daughter. I don't know who this guy is.
Right.
Because she didn't want me to marry.
Right.
Him, especially. For some reason, my mom did not like especially his sister, the family.
Right.
He heard things about it.
Right.
So that's why. And we have a saying, when you marry somebody, you marry the family.
Right.
You don't just marry the person.
Right.
So that's why. And I finished first year of college. He came back, and he went to my dad first with his best friend. And of course, it was 70s. He had high heels and he had chain in his neck. He came from America. In Afghanistan, man didn't wear chains.
Right.
And my dad.
And your husband was very flashy, as from what your daughter tells me.
It wasn't very flashy, but
No.
it was, high heels,
Yeah.
long hair.
Yeah.
And when he went, he talked to my dad first. And so I knew he went to see my dad. I left my bedroom door open, and I heard my mom and dad talking in dining room when my dad came. And my dad told my mom, oh, congratulations. Your son-in-law came back. He was very funny. My mom was like, what are you talking? I said, well, mine came from America. He came to see me. My mom like, oh my God, this guy never get lost. My dad said, no, actually, he was really a good guy. A guy who cares about his family, takes care of his family. Believe me, I think he can take care of his wife too.
Mm.
I like a guy who can take care of his family. And my mom said, what did he look like? My dad said he looked okay. He just had a little high heels and a chain on his neck. But other than that, he seems like a decent guy.
So he got your dad's approval enough at
I
least
got his
to.
approval. Then they came. I got married in March 14, I got married. Actually, the next week we got engaged. The following week, which was March 7, he came March 1st, March 7, engagement, March 14, my wedding.
You got engaged and married in 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
Okay.
Because he had to go
Oh,
back.
that's right. Yeah, right.
Otherwise, he had to go for military services.
Right.
It was mandatory back then.
Okay.
He had to leave Afghanistan in hiding.
Okay.
In a car to Pakistan, from Pakistan to Germany. He left his green card and everything.
So he really risked a lot to even come.
He risked a lot when he came.
Wow.
Yeah, he could have went to jail.
Wow.
So that's how he left. And I was just new bride and start wearing heels, even though I was a tomboy all my life. But I just got married, wearing dresses, wearing heels. And they made me walk all the way to the castle. It was like hour and a half walk. I couldn't walk for days.
So you're married. Your new husband, though, is now back in the U.S. He has to sneak back, get out. He has to sneak back to the U.S. You're still in Afghanistan. And then how long till you go join him in the U.S.? And the rest of your siblings, too?
The guy that took him to Pakistan, he offered him to take me. My dad said, no. I don't allow my daughter to go with a stranger.
Right.
I don't know what they're going to do on the way.
Right.
You never know. So if she goes with visa at the airplane, she goes.
Right.
If she can't, she'd rather stay. So for that reason, I stayed, applied for passport. And when I went to get approval for passport from Afizullah Amin, they called him. And he was just a very funny guy. He said, why don't you bring him and you want to go? I said, because I want to go to bring him here. I didn't tell him he came and we got married.
Yeah, right.
Because in Islamic religion, you can do in front of a sword without the groom being there, or as long as you have witnesses.
Okay.
So I said I did it, the sword wedding.
Right.
And I'm going to bring him back. He laughed and he signed my thing, so I got my passport. And then they wanted marriage certificate at passport office. And Umayyan had this family friend. She was going with me. I was 19 years old. I didn't know these procedures and stuff. And they wanted marriage certificate. So I can't give him my marriage certificate because his signature is here and that proves that he was here.
Right.
So she said, oh, because in Iraq, something happened and a lot of people died and burned everything. He said, oh, when it happened, the things that happened in Iraq, all her papers were there. It's destroyed. She doesn't have the papers.
Right.
So they believed her and I got that. And then now it's visa time. I got my passport. Visa, impossible to get visa.
Right.
And the way I got visa, this lady knew the lady that worked for the council, for American council. So she asked me for $600.
Right.
I gave her $600. She put it inside my passport. She took my passport to the embassy. I don't think they had embassy at that time. It was consulate. Took my passport. The next day she brought it with
The visa.
Tourist visa.
So visa cost $600.
Visa cost me $600.
Back then, that was a lot of money. That's probably like
oh yeah,
$2,000-$3,000 now at least. Wow.
The thing is, when they say they don't accept bribes,
Right.
they do accept.
Just depends on how much, right?
yeah.
So, all right. So now you have your passport and your visa. What about your siblings? So at that point, you then go to reconnect with your husband.
Yeah.
Back in the U.S. What about the rest of your
The
family?
rest of my family was in Afghanistan.
Right. For how long?
Not too long. 1980, I think. Mina and Trina,
Mhm.
because at that time Russian became very, very, like my sister Friba got hurt. They were beating people and all those things happened. And my dad practiced private practices. Nobody could have it anymore.
Oh.
It was communism. So first he said Trina was married. Trina and Mina. Trina married after me a year
Mhm.
later. So they, with their husband, and Mina had a child, Naz, they went to Germany as refugees. When you come as a refugee, you have to go to another country at least for 6 months to be processed, then come to America.
Okay.
Straight from Afghanistan, you can't. So Trina and Mina came to Germany.
Hmm.
6 months later, they came to America.
Got it.
Then the rest of the family, they came later when I had Zoe, no, actually, I had Zoe was a year old when they came. They came 1982.
Okay.
1980, Mina and Trina came. 1982, my mom, Mateen, Freba, Sina, Shakila, her husband, and her daughter.
Mm.
They all went to India. They stayed in India for 6 months as refugee until they got refugee visa and they came to America.
So, and then your dad and his mom
Dad
were
had
in
to stay,
Pakistan
yeah.
for how long were they in Pakistan for?
They were in Pakistan for like 3 years.
Wow. So, all right. So now let's call it 1984, 85. Everyone now is in the U.S.
And 1982,
1982.
everybody was here, but my dad came a lot later.
A lot later.
I think.
So now I'm trying to imagine. So your whole family that had
90s.
been wealthy and successful in Afghanistan,
Yeah.
the Soviets wreck all of that, communism. It takes years for everyone to finally get over to U.S. Your dad and your grandmother eventually also join,
Yeah.
but now he's not a wealthy doctor
Yep.
of prestige and power anymore. He's what did he do when he came to the U.S.? Did he have to start over?
He was over 60, and he's like, if I start now, because it takes
Sure.
years and years. Even if you're a doctor for 40 years, you have to start all over again to take
Right.
the test, take classes. He said, by the time I become full-blown doctor, I'd be in my 70s.
Right.
So there's no use. But he went to college.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he went to college for 4 years,
Right.
taking English classes, whatever classes he liked, computer classes. He loved computers. So he retired.
So he retired when he was in the U.S. He never did a regular job.
Never worked. No.
Okay.
No, he never got a job. He retired here because soon after he came, my mom had heart surgery and he stopped smoking.
Mm-hmm.
So was my mom. Because of my mom, he stopped smoking after 40 years of smoking. Cold turkey.
So but everyone in your family, so did anyone speak English much at all when you guys first came?
No, we took classes, but when I came to him, I took classes, English classes, all of us. We had private courses.
But back in Afghanistan,
school,
or
back in Afghanistan, we used to go. But when I came to New York first time, I didn't understand a word what they were saying because it was British English.
Right.
The accent. When you don't speak the language, you
Right.
don't know like right now. I didn't used to sound when people talk Southern accent.
Right.
I had friends in California. I'm like, speak English. I don't understand you.
Right.
So that's why I couldn't understand.
And it's not even the same alphabet. So it's not even like you can even, and of course there was no Google Translate back then.
I mean, I thought I can speak some English to solve my problem, but when I
Right.
came here, an American English is mostly slangs.
Mm-hmm.
British English is very proper,
Right.
like Iranian and Farsi and Afghani Farsi.
Right.
We are proper Iranian slang.
Got it.
So you have to know the language very well to understand. Like right now, I have no problem.
Right. Well, in fact, and we'll come to this later, but you were a translator in the military, so you actually translated. So for me, I can't imagine going to another country where the alphabet's not even the same. In fact, the letters aren't even in the same direction. It's right to left.
We studied that much English to know writing and reading and stuff. But speaking and understanding was a big problem. So when you have to, like you can't even go and buy something. And it took me to solve my problem 3 months maybe.
Okay.
Watching soap opera.
Okay.
Every day, all day I watched soap opera.
Right.
So you understand them.
Right.
Like my mother-in-law, she was watching soap opera and she understood. She told me the stories.
Right.
When I came home, Erica said this said this.
Right.
She understood. She couldn't speak, but she understood them.
Oh, interesting.
So I watched them. I went to school once, and it was private high school. Just because I had to get my high school degree.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I didn't have from Afghanistan, they didn't give us anything after we finished.
Oh, okay. So you didn't go back to high school?
I went to private school.
Okay.
High school. And the problem is you couldn't be there when you're married.
Right.
And my husband's best friend came to pick me up. And they said, "Who are you?" I said, I'm her brother-in-law.
Oh, okay.
They're like, "Oh, she's married?" And they kicked me out because it was Catholic school.
Right.
I know. So I kicked out of that school. Then I went to school again, college. So Umayun made high school diploma for me with potatoes. He made stamps out of potatoes, put ink, and put some signatures, and made me high school diploma so I can go to college.
So you went to college with a forged high school diploma.
You had to forge it.
No, I know. I'm not judging. I'm just saying it's very creative and clever.
He made it for his sister.
Right.
Because his sister finished college back in Afghanistan.
Right.
But she had no papers. You couldn't bring anything at that time.
Right.
So what happened, he made me a high school diploma, and then I signed up for college. That's when I had Omaid. Omaid had asthma. Omaid got sick, went to the hospital. I couldn't go anymore.
Right.
I had to stay with him. He was 2 months old.
I remember Sina telling me about going to classes with you when she was very young.
And I went, that was the third time I went to college.
Third time.
I went twice. Omaid got sick.
Right.
I stopped. That was Bergen Community College back in New Jersey.
Sure.
When I moved to California, because I just had to finish college because I had to help my kids. Elementary school, I could help them.
Right.
But high school, I couldn't.
Right.
And when I moved to California, as soon as I had Sony, I went to college. They said they take the kids when they're a year old, not before a year. So my mom and dad came to my apartment in the morning, take care of Sina and Sony. I went to college. And then when she was a year old, they were going daycare at the college. I just had to work 2 hours a week. Every parent had to do it because it was free.
Right.
So Sina and Sony went there. I went to college. But I got my AA degree in 4 years because they could stay at the at daycare.
Right.
Otherwise, if I took him to private daycare, each one would have cost me $1,800 month.
Right.
And I couldn't afford it at the time.
Yeah.
So college was free. They were free. They approved me for financial aid. And I took advantage of it. I took ESL classes.
Mhm.
I took math class. I started from beginning of math because the way we do math and algebra and they do it here, it's very different. The answer is the same, of course,
Right.
but we do it shorter way. So I
Okay.
taught my kids sometimes shorter way. You can do it long way. You can do it. And I had to learn this way to help my kids.
Sure.
And I got my degree in 4 years with 4.0.
Nice. So
Graduate.
you graduate, you get your degree. Now you eventually became an entrepreneur, started a bunch of restaurants, but there must have been some steps
No,
before
we
that.
were in business, fried chicken. We had fast food back in Jersey.
Okay.
And
Was it you guys worked at a restaurant? You guys co-owned a restaurant? Like what?
no, we owned we had franchise.
Okay.
Fried chicken franchise. We worked there. And then I moved to California. But my husband, at that time, he got a restaurant. Afghan.
How did you guys have the money to buy a franchise even when you were back in New Jersey?
Back in Jersey, because Umayun, when he came, he saved up money.
Okay. Your first husband.
My first
Right,
husband.
right.
And he got his first franchise with a partner.
Okay.
And then later on, we had it alone.
Okay.
And this went on for years and years, but we had like 4 or 5 different franchises at a time.
Okay.
Because that was only a franchise for 3 years.
Okay.
So we changed as Orzo and Omid was growing up.
Right.
And then when I moved to California, he opened up a restaurant, which the sister husband, they bought the property and they leased him the restaurant to run, thinking that I'm going to go back. And I said, no matter what you do, I'm not coming back because I really, really needed my kids to be with family.
Right.
I used to come like every 3 months to California. I missed my family so much.
Right.
And I want my kids to be around them. So for that reason, then after 3 years, I told them, if you want to come, feel free.
Right.
We are here. If you want to stay, it's your choice. Then he sold the restaurant. He came and we opened the restaurant in Jacqueline Square at the Village. It was a small restaurant. And we still had a lease. We were there for 5 years, I think, or 6 years. That they wanted to demolish that. So there was another restaurant which was closed forever. It was called, the original owner was Rusty Skepper.
Okay.
It's known as Rusty Skepper, it was
Right.
known. And that was closed for years. Whoever took over, nobody could keep it open after 2 months.
Mm.
So now that we have to leave this place, an Asian guy, I think he was Chinese, Mr. Chang, he leased the restaurant. I mean, he bought the restaurant, but he couldn't run it. It was the area was on the water, beautiful place, but there's no foot traffic.
Right.
It was really hard to get customers there. You have to be very special on something.
Be a destination to one. Yeah. Right.
So it was Jacqueline Square, but it was on side of it.
Right.
It wasn't foot traffic there. So what he did, he let us, our customers actually, he used to come every day. He passed away, Joe. Took us there. He said, this restaurant, nobody can run it. I know you guys can run this. So we went there. I told him, this is how much I want. If you want me to give up my lease. Otherwise, I'm not leaving. And they had to pay me to leave. I said, I need money to get another restaurant because they made a park there.
Right.
They just demolished everything. So they gave me the money. We took over the other restaurant. While we were getting that one ready, we still had the small one, a few more months. And then that restaurant really picked up.
Right.
And the reason it picked up because we had to have nightclub.
Uh,
We had promoter. He advertised on radio. He brought singers. He brought famous DJs. And non-seating was 400. So
400. Wow.
400 non-seating,
Right.
120 seating. It was big and huge balcony on the water.
Right.
So this guy brought people, and most of my money we made at the bar. I mean, it was restaurant. If there is no liquor, you don't make money on food.
Right.
The
Yeah.
bottom line. Yeah.
Well, so you have 4 children. So Zoe, your oldest, and Omaid, your
My
son.
second. 10 years later.
And then 10 years later, my wife, Sony.
accidents.
Sorry, Sina, and then her sister, your youngest, Sony.
Back-to-back accidents, year
Right.
and a half apart. Yeah.
So 2 sets of 2 kids, 10 years apart. I can only imagine, like, how much of that time were you guys, reasonably comfortable financially, and how much of that time were things a struggle?
There were times it was up and down. Trust my kids, never, ever, ever.
Right.
I worked so hard
I know.
so they can have everything they want.
And now I work so hard so your daughter can have everything.
My daughter has more than she needs.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. But I worked so hard with clothing, food, school. They were never behind.
Right.
But we did have hard times. We did have hard times when we came to California. I had very hard time for a while. And then when we took over Zazuz, everything was great. We bought a house, big house. They were happy. Everything was going good until 2008 when somebody else bought the property and they said they want to build a building here. So they bought the rest of our lease for nothing. And the most important thing is because we had neighbors and our nightclub was black mainly.
Mm-hmm.
And even it was 30 up, very decent crowd. I always had 12 bouncers, 4 police officers as security.
Oh my God.
Every club, man.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it was the most decent
Right.
nightclub I've ever known anywhere. So people were behaving well to the point that they were calling ABC that I am underage. And this guy, the last time he came, standing by the bar, I knew the guy. I said, "Hi, how are you? What did you hear now?" He said, "I heard you have underage." And that was the night that I had 40th, 50th, 60th birthday parties in 3 different sections of the restaurant.
Right.
And most of my clients that night had gray hair.
Right. Right.
The guy looked around and he shook his head and left. He said, "They're
Right.
just wasting my time."
Yeah.
That was the last time he walked in the restaurant.
Right.
So these people told me, one old lady, Margot, her name was, lived in a 200 units were next door. And she was the president of the association. And she came in at the beginning when we just took over, said, "I don't bother you as long as you don't bring black people here."
Oh God.
I looked at her, I said, "Let me tell you one thing. We're in Oakland.
Right.
This is Black City.
Right.
If you don't like it, I think you should move."
Right.
She hated me
Right.
from the beginning.
Got
So
it.
they bothered me all the time.
Yeah.
I had to get an attorney. They complained, when people leave, they start their car at the same time, they wake us up. So things like that.
Yeah.
Because nobody was allowed in the parking lot during the night.
Right.
Last call was 1:15, 1:30. We were cleared.
Right.
Not even 2 o'clock. Parking lot was cleared. Security was there. And Jerry Brown became the mayor. De La Fuente was city council president. Larry Reed was city council. All these people, they always came to the restaurant for Mother's Day, for their political functions, everything. The presidential going on. They used to come, and they always had all these political parties there and
Right.
fundraising and stuff. And Jerry Brown lived like a couple of blocks from me. He always used to come with his dog.
Right.
I had his what do you call it, the day before they get married, the rehearsal dinner.
Rehearsal dinner. Yeah. Yeah.
Because families, for the first time, they met
Right.
his family and Anne's family.
Right.
I had that there, and I was going to his house and every time delivering food and stuff for his parties. And these people are the one who helped me stay open and stay there for like almost 10 years.
Mm.
Because they always took me to the city to take my cabaret license, to take my liquor license. And when it came to voting, all the councils and mayor, even if the council was half and half, the mayor came and voted
Right.
for me, and they hated that.
Right.
They always said I have political clout. But there was no political. These people came.
Right.
Chief of police came 2-3 times. I saw him sitting at my bar on my nightclub just to check how it is.
Right. Right.
The city council president, he came with his wife many times on club nights, like
Right.
in midnight. He just walked in, had a drink with his wife, looked around.
Right.
They didn't just vote it for me
Yeah. You were doing
because
it
I
right.
paid them off. No,
Yeah.
because
You deserved it. Well,
so that's how this went.
So
And
you have your
finally-
restaurant, and I think so
So the restaurant closed because they bought the rest of my lease, paid a little money. And the reason actually I accepted to go, people were leaving. It's 1:30 in the morning. A car came driveway. It was a huge parking lot. I don't know if you've seen it or not seen it.
I don't think so. No.
The car came, white truck came, shot fires. One person's skin just passed them by. One girl got shot here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they fired 3 shots. And they went back. Nobody could catch them.
Right.
So nobody saw who it was. And I knew it was, at that time, the president was a Mexican guy, which he wanted to shut us down.
Right.
And I heard from other people it was Mexicans. So I'm not sure. If it was Mexican, it was him.
Right.
Because nobody else would do that. Just come,
Right.
shot 3 fires,
Right.
and go. No, had that somebody have to send you there.
Right.
So that's what happened. And I told them, why? And this time they sent somebody to shoot. Next time they're going to shoot us.
Right.
No amount of money is worth this.
Right.
When they sold the property and the owner wanted to make a building, I just took some money from him and
Right.
gave up the rest of my lease.
So then you opened another restaurant?
And we had to open another restaurant. So 2008, everything went down in California.
That's right.
And what I did, I saw these commercials because I had Afghani TV for my mother-in-law. And I was watching, this job was paying good money to go for translate. So I can understand Pashto, but I can't speak it. I can read and write, but speaking because I don't have practice. So I took classes. I took Pashto classes to pass the test. September of 2008, I went to Baltimore. I waited 3 months to go to Afghanistan. I told my husband, we got a restaurant. You start building it. I'll make the money. You're going to be okay.
So he's doing the build out of a new restaurant, and you're going to Afghanistan as a translator to make enough money to send back to help fund the build out of the restaurant. Got it.
It was a small restaurant,
Right.
but the thing happened. He took over the big restaurant first, then finally that closed down. When I came back for vacation after 6 months, they couldn't run it, and they owed like 2-3 months in rent.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't make enough money to even pay the rent. I talked to the guy. I said, I told you not to give it. You did.
Right.
So I leave. We're even.
Right.
I don't have any more money to pay you.
Right.
I leave your place, lease it to somebody else, and you didn't keep your word.
Right.
I told you he cannot run it without me,
Right.
but you give it to him after I left. So now it's on you.
So that restaurant
He
goes
was
under.
Palestinian guy, very
Right.
nice guy.
Right.
He said, you're right. I didn't pay him a dime.
So all right. So you get out of that lease.
Yeah.
So now are you doing a build out on another restaurant?
The one that I already am paying rent, I already paid for 6-7 months.
Got it.
Just sitting there in Oakland.
Okay.
So now my husband started to work on that.
The one he should have been working on to begin
The one he
with.
should have worked on. So he finished it. This was end of 2009. I actually put my foot in Afghanistan January in Afghanistan because of process and Obama's election, and they just hold like 350 of us
Mm-hmm.
in hotels in Baltimore until we were allowed to go. Then they let us go one by one. I was
Okay.
approved, everything was done.
Right.
So now I go to Afghanistan. He started the restaurant. I come, my vacation, I came first vacation August to close one restaurant. And now my vacation, I have it for my birthday, 2010, February 5th. So I'm coming a week before my birthday and stay home for 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And before I came, January 9th, he opened the restaurant. It was open for 3 weeks. Of course, it was not doing well. It was just new.
Sure.
And he goes to get groceries, brings the groceries, and tells the dishwasher that put the water for the rice to boil. I'll park the car. I'll be back to make the rice. I had Sienna at that time too. I still have Siennas.
Right.
He parked the van on side street. Get out of the car, drop that. Sudden heart attack.
So your husband has a heart attack. He's what, 50?
55.
55 years old. You're actually in Afghanistan. You have to go back to Afghanistan. Are you even able to stay for the funeral? Like what?
Zoe called
can only-
me 5 a.m.
Okay.
I couldn't sleep that night for some reason.
Right.
I don't know. I was worried. What if something happened? What if? And because to my knowledge, you open a restaurant, I come for vacation. If everything works out, I leave the job. We're going to do this.
Mm-hmm. So the plan is you're going to come back for your vacation. If things are going
First time I come
okay,
for vacation.
right?
If things go well,
You'll stay, quit the job.
I'll stay with the job, or I go for another 6 months
Right,
until
right.
the restaurant pick up a little.
Right.
Then I come, we work at this restaurant, that's it.
Got it.
And so we called and said, Daddy had a heart attack. She was crying. I'm like, how is he? Where is he? She said, he died.
You're halfway around the world.
The shock,
You find out I can't even imagine what that must have been
the
like.
shock stayed with me for still. To be honest
Right.
with you, it never
Right.
goes away.
Right.
And Naj, my husband now,
Mm.
he was at the same, we were in small fob, at the same fob.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a friend, she's in LA now. Safia was with me. And Safia called Naj. He came. They put my necessities in a duffel bag. And he took my things to the flight line, took the first helicopter to Sharana, which is another
Mm-hmm.
small fob, a bigger fob. Planes goes to Bagram from there.
Mm.
The thing is, military is good with when they just they have to send a fax
Right.
from Red Cross. that happen in family, and then they send you as fast as they can.
Got it. So then you come back basically for the funeral.
So I came back for the funeral.
Right.
Took me 48 hours.
Oh my God.
From there to Sharana, from Sharana to Bagram. The only thing I waited for in Bagram because it was raining.
Right.
So another military flight from Bagram to Qatar. And then in Qatar, you buy a ticket and come home. That's the...
So how long were you even able to, because you had to go, one, you've got 4 children, but 2 of them were younger, Sina and Sony. They're still in high school.
Yeah.
And so you still have to provide for them. Your 2 oldest are at least on their own at that point. But so how long are you even back in the States? One, I can only imagine 48 hours of traveling.
They gave me, it was actually 1 week grieving when they gave you, but they gave me 3 weeks.
Okay.
Grieving period.
Okay.
So I came for 3 weeks and funeral, everything passed. And I think I took 2 weeks vacation too.
Okay.
I stayed for a while.
Okay.
To see what goes on. First of all, I couldn't stay in my house.
Right.
Because everywhere I went, I cried. I just couldn't function, period.
Right.
And I thought I'm going to see him.
Right.
Maybe in the backyard, maybe here.
Yeah.
He was nowhere to be seen,
Yeah.
but I don't know. When you go crazy, you go crazy. I couldn't help it at the time. So I realized the business takes a long time. I built it up a little bit, but
Well, he's not there to run it, obviously, and you have to go back. So you basically just have
I went back. I told them just I had the cook, but we had a partner in that business. This partner's wife, Mahbub, he's not working person.
Right.
So the wife, I told him just be here until I come back. So I went back to Afghanistan for like a month or so, came back and started to, this time I took 3 months off. Just in case if something happened, at least I have a way to go back. No, first time I came for that. This time I came to stay.
Okay.
I came to stay, ran the business. And they ruined it. By the time I came back, it wasn't even where it was. It couldn't even pay the rent. So I started it, built it. I forgot. I think I was here 3 months, 4 months, something like that. So I built it up.
Right.
I built it up. And then I realized I ran out of money, by the way. Yeah.
Right.
I ran out of saving. And now the business don't make money to pay its own expenses. Forget about my mortgage and my kids and my other expenses.
Right.
So I had to go back. Even when I went back, I put Anari in charge, which poor Anari never worked in restaurant.
Right.
Had no idea.
And she was like, what, 22 or something?
She was very young.
Yeah.
But I had no choice.
So you basically you have children running the restaurant effectively. And if I remember from what Sina told me.
The only thing I asked Anari, are you happy at your job? He said, no. I said, how much you make? She said, this much. I said, I give you a little more.
Right.
Come and stay here.
Right.
Take care of it.
So the restaurant eventually goes under. You're back in Afghanistan trying to make money to support, because you still have Sina and Sony who are still in high school.
Every single month,
right,
with payroll and expenses, the money that restaurant made, I paid $8,000 exactly every month out of pocket for that restaurant.
Right.
To pay the bills and payroll and all that. I had to keep it open because I had a lease. I wasn't allowed to keep it closed.
Right.
So I stayed open, and then I got frustrated because it wasn't her thing.
Yeah.
he never did this before.
Sure.
And
she's a kid.
she's a kid.
Yeah.
And the guys weren't gonna do the way they're supposed to work.
Right.
So I was counting on those adults, my cook and
Right.
this other guy. I said, forget it. I closed it.
So now, how is it? Look, I can't even imagine dealing with the loss of your husband, let alone.
Yeah.
So now you lose the restaurant, you lose your house, car. I mean, Sina told me she was driving a Mercedes and then she's taking the bus.
Yeah.
You're still having to work in Afghanistan. So you're not even here to be able to support them emotionally because you have to be out there making money to be able to send back.
That was the hardest thing.
How were you like
been
handling
through
that mentally? I can only imagine how difficult that must have been. How did you keep your sanity?
I wasn't saying.
Okay.
Why you think I was drinking all the time?
Right. Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, you have to numb yourself. Yeah.
I couldn't sleep if I didn't drink.
Right.
Thank God for in Afghanistan there was no drinks.
Right.
I was drinking NyQuil.
Oh my
Good
God.
sleep.
Right.
I swear.
Yeah, I believe you.
I could not sleep. I still have problems sleeping. I have to take ZQL to sleep.
So how long were you in Afghanistan? How long till you came back? Like how old were? Because I think Sina was what 22 maybe when you came back from Afghanistan.
No.
Or maybe it was.
Sina was 18 when I came back.
She was 18. Okay.
What happened? I worked from 2009 when I went
Mhm.
on and off until 2018 I came. Then I stayed for a couple of years, then I went back.
Got it.
So 2018, I mean, when Sina was 18, what happened? I was worried about Sina and Sony. And then Sony was like, I hate this life. I'm going to commit suicide. And,
Right.
drama queen. But
Right.
I pay attention to drama queen.
Of course.
Because at that age,
You never know.
never know.
Yeah.
If she tells me now, I say, forget you. But at that age,
Right.
you really don't know what your kids do. They lost a father too.
Right. Yeah.
So it's
Well,
they lost a
and
mother at the same time.
well, not only that, but if I remember correctly, Sina had told me that I think it was just not that long before you'd lost
My father.
Your father,
A
right?
year after mine, my father died.
Yeah, and then wasn't there someone who died maybe just a few months before your
My
husband?
aunt.
Your aunt, who everyone was really close with.
Back to back to back.
Yeah.
My aunt, she died 2007, 2010 Omayan, 2009 my mother-in-law.
Right.
4 months before my husband.
Right.
So they've been through this. They lived with my mother-in-law. They
Right,
loved
so they were
her.
very close. Yeah.
They were very close. So my mother-in-law dies. 4 months later, my husband dies at the same house to death in 1 year, in 4
Right.
months. And a year later, my father died.
I remember Sina telling me like going to the cemetery because I guess the plots were next to each
Yeah.
other. Like the grave from the last person who had passed away hadn't even settled yet, and I mean,
Yeah, that one
that's why
died.
like when people here complain about their lives and how difficult it was, I'm like, you don't know what difficult looks like. I have no complaints. I think about my childhood by comparison is a walk in the park.
No, we had great childhood.
Hmm.
Me, myself,
Right.
no problem.
Right.
So,
Till you were 18. Yeah. And all that crazy stuff started happening.
but Sina and Sony,
Hmm. It was hard.
because they didn't have father at that time and they didn't have me.
Right.
So it's really hard for a teenager. I came back because when Sony said that, and at the same time, my back,
Hmm.
I felt my back was hurting. So I went to background without permission from small fob. I was in Urguni, went to Shank, went to background, took another flight. Oh, in Shank, we had manager. I told the site manager, I have to go home. He said, well, you flew from Urguni without telling me. I said, no, 6 a.m. I sent you an email
Hmm.
and I took a flight.
Right.
You didn't answer. He said, you know I'm sleeping. I'm asleep at 6. I said, I don't know. I just sent
Right.
you an email and left.
Right.
But I shouldn't have done that. It was
Right,
against the rules.
Yeah.
So he sent me to Bagram, see what Bagram says. I went to Bagram. I told him, I'm worried about my kid.
Right.
I want to take 3 months off. After 3 months, I'll come back. And the lady there at HR said, well, your back is hurting. You can hardly walk.
Right.
Why don't you go for medical leave?
Right.
I said, whatever you do, I need to go home regardless.
Right.
So he said, go back to transit. I'll talk to them and see what happens. I'm waiting a week.
Right.
Nothing happens. Go back to you. I said, what's going on? He said, it's been a week. I'm still waiting for your answer. Whatever reason you gave me, you
Right.
fire me. You want me to quit, I quit. You fire
Right.
me, go fire me, I
Right.
go. She didn't want to fire me. She wanted me to go on medical leave.
Mm-hmm.
And then she talked to the big guys. They called me at the office. They said, you traveled without permission. So we have to let you go because medical leave, now they had to pay for everything.
Right.
When they fire me, they don't have to pay for anything. I'm a contractor.
Right.
I said, why didn't you tell me that a week ago?
Right.
I really want to go home. Thank you.
Right.
Gave me my papers, I'm gone. So I got fired.
Okay.
That's when I came home. Sina was 18. First thing she said, I want to move out. I don't want to, I want to move in San Francisco.
Right.
The only thing which is very hard at the time that you do, I took a chance with all my kids. I gave them these freedoms, which is very hard for them sometimes, but I want them to learn earlier
Right.
than like me later in life, to appreciate good times in their life.
Right.
The reason Sina is very appreciative now because she's been through these things.
100%. She says it all the time.
I'm 18, you can't say anything.
Right.
I'm legal age.
Right.
I said, do whatever you want to do.
Right.
So then she said she want to go to fashion school. Okay, and at this time I don't have a job. And my husband is like that. I don't have business. So I got parents' loan.
Right.
And after a year, she said, I don't want to go to college.
Mm.
I'm not college type. Everybody don't. I said, no, why don't you tell me a year before so I don't have to get the loan? So forget it. I paid the loan off finally.
Right.
I said, whatever you think. The thing is, I want them to experience every little things, good or bad. That makes them stronger in life. They can deal with anything.
Well, part of why I wanted to talk to you, and because I know I didn't know everything, but I knew a lot of the pieces, is having gone through everything you've gone through, having raised 4 children, different countries, different cultures. You have to have developed your own lens that you see things through, your philosophy about how you raised your kids and how you think about your own life now. Like if you were...
About my kids, to be honest with you, when people complain about their kids,
right.
First of all, kids don't ask you to bring me to this world.
Right.
We bring him.
Right.
And then we raise him. So if my kid's something wrong with him, it's my fault.
Right.
I'm happy the way I raised them. I don't know if they are happy or not, but I'm happy.
Right.
But parents always blame children. Oh, when you grew up, you have to take care of me. No.
Right.
Like you and Sina want me to move in, take care. Why?
Right.
It's not your job to take care of me.
Right.
And the thing is, it's never kids' job to take care of the parents because they didn't choose to born.
Complete agreement.
We chose to bring
I would
you
never
to
let
this
my
world.
daughter take care of me. No way. Yeah.
That's why I don't want my kids. The Arzo wants me to move in with her. Do you guys want me to? Well, Sina told me today, I really like, I said, Sina, you're telling me now, but your life is perfect as it is.
Right.
Even I don't let you get a dog.
Right.
Why you want somebody else to come and say?
Well, so to be
life.
fair, and in Sina's defense, I don't think it's really, and this, at least I'll tell you from my perspective, it's not about taking care of you. You can take care of yourself. It's really more, I think, Sina just wanting you comfortable, wanting you to be comfortable and for you to be happy where you are. Really,
But
that's
the
all.
thing is, I'm
right.
very happy the way you guys are now.
Mhm.
I don't want to touch it. I really don't.
Yeah, no,
Because, life takes turns.
it sure does. It sure
One day
does.
you're on the sky, the next day
That's
you
right.
dropped in pieces. You never know.
Yeah.
So that's what I learned from life. Yesterday is gone.
Yep.
Learn from it. Don't dwell on it. Don't complain about it. Just learn from it, your mistakes, and let it behind you. Tomorrow,
Right.
you never know what happens tomorrow when you wake up.
Right.
It's another day. Deal
Yeah.
with it tomorrow. Why
Yeah.
worry about it today and ruin today? Do the best you can today.
Yep.
Live like that. What happens is going to happen. Do the best you can in life. If your best is not good enough, well. That's life.
Yep.
So now I'm very, very, thank God, knock on the wood, worry free.
Right.
I'm happy. Yeah, my kids, they know. If you have a problem, solve it. Yeah, I tell them.
Well, Sina says,
Don't complain to me because there's nothing I can do.
that's what she said. She was
Solve
like,
your problems.
my mom loves me the most because I don't complain to her because I don't have anything to complain about.
No, but the thing is, complaining don't get you nowhere.
I know.
So just live your life for today. Do the best you can with everything today. Tomorrow comes like Sony, worried about having tests, having exams, having this. Nervous. Stress kills you. Stress killed my husband.
Right.
It's hard to stop because he always stressed over everything.
Yeah.
To him, it was so important what kind of house, what kind of car, luxury, and nothing means nothing to me anymore. Being healthy, being happy, being relaxed is the most important thing in life.
Right.
Yeah, have luxury when you can afford it. Have
Enjoy
it for you.
Enjoy it while you have it.
While you have it.
Maybe you'll have it forever.
No, but
maybe
do
you
it
won't.
for you.
Yeah.
My husband loved for people to come and see his house or his restaurant and say, wow.
Yeah.
He had a great taste too. That I had to give it to him. But he loved that.
Yeah.
And he loved it when people liked the things he did and gave him compliments.
Yeah.
I don't know why. He always got compliments, but he still wanted compliments.
Yeah.
I don't. I don't care what people think of me because I don't bother anybody. I don't hurt anybody. I don't talk bad about anybody.
Right.
If anybody hates me, hates me.
Right. Well, I think that having that, not giving a crap about what other people think, I think is kind of a superpower because I remember when Sina, when she was doing the personal training and the meal prep for people and she was making like $100 an hour and all this other stuff. And she was miserable. And I was like, honey, I don't know why you're doing this. It doesn't change our lifestyle. And, it's great that you're making money, but you're doing this because other people are telling you how proud they are of you or whatever. I'm like, do you want to live your life for them or for yourself? And I was so grateful that she finally I think the light bulb finally went off. And she's like, and I think a lot of it's actually coming from you because I know when she talks to you.
You helped her a lot because she had very bad anxiety all the time about everything.
Right.
I'm like, you're a beautiful, smart girl.
Right.
Anxiety for what?
Right.
That's always because what people think of you. If you don't worry about people, I really don't care how I look, how I do. Like sometimes when people tell me, like, you have to do. No, I don't have to do. I just do what makes me happy.
Right.
And of course, not hurting anybody else along the way.
Right.
Not at anybody's expense, at my own expense. Relax. I'm retired.
Right.
I love my relaxing.
Right.
I get up, go for my walk, do my stretches, take a shower, go to work, come back,
Right.
lay down and watch Netflix. That's
Right.
my life. And I
It could
keep
be a
it
lot
for
worse.
as long as I can.
Right.
It can be a lot worse.
Yeah.
Once you've been through life, you appreciate these little things.
Well, so, we didn't talk about it, but I'm just curious how impactful it was Because I know when I've asked Sina about it, she says you really don't talk about it much. But being a translator in the military, in a combat zone, in a war zone, I can only imagine some of the horrors you
It
must have
takes
had
the
to.
life out of you.
Yeah.
Trust me.
Yeah.
Being in an army base, especially for 6 months, I was working with medics. And when people come injured and die in front of you, children die in front of you, that really, it just, the way it changes you
I can imagine.
completely.
Maybe just talk a little bit about how you think it changed you. And
when people complain about little things,
right.
I even told my husband, he was alive at the time, he complained about somebody. And that was the moment that this kid, I was praying and sitting with him until he had his last breath. He died because his brain came out with the landmine.
Oh my God.
And he was like 9, 10 years old boy.
Oh, God.
And when he died and put him in body bag and did all that, I went to call home and he was complaining about something. I said, you know what? I'm going to hang up. I just bagged a little boy with his brains out, died right in front of me, and you're complaining about your freaking life.
Right.
I'm going to hang up, and if next time you complain about anybody or anything, I'll
Right.
never call back. I hang up.
Right. Yeah.
It's these little problems people have. It just doesn't mean anything. They dwell on stupid things.
They don't know what real problems look like.
They don't know what soldiers.
Yeah.
Like the first time this Afghan army guy got shot, hole in his stomach, and they took the white cloth out
Right.
with blood. I almost fainted, and they saw me. I don't know, my color change or something. One of these soldiers brought a chair. Are you fainting? I said, I think, but I'm okay. I'll be okay. They gave
Right.
me water, and I'm like, no, this is a job. You came here for this. Do it. You have to put up with it. You have to force yourself.
Right.
And those times was really hard. And then again, when I came home, it takes you at least 3-4 years to get used to civilian life.
Really?
Oh God, yeah.
3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Every time I came to Texas, when I moved, I heard a whistle sound. I thought rockets coming. I thought
Right.
every
Right.
time.
Right. Right.
And I realized I'm home now.
So
It stays with you for a long time.
Is there anything good that comes out of that? Like, does it make it easier to be grateful?
It makes it easier to be grateful, and it makes it easier not to worry about little things in life.
Right.
And know that these young people die in front of you. They
Right.
had hopes, they had dreams. I lived my life.
Right.
Why do I have to be worrying about little things? Like, things doesn't mean anything to me, like go buy a diamond or what are you going to do with it?
Right.
To me, even if I hit the jackpot tomorrow, I'm not going to buy jewelry.
Right.
It doesn't mean anything to me anymore.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the age.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, I think
been through life. I don't know. It's not important to me anymore. Things are not important to me anymore.
I agree. I think it's about experiences, like spending money on experiences to me,
Yeah.
creating memories with people you care about.
Creating memories,
Yeah.
different times, different lives. Everything have a time. I've been there, done that.
Yeah. Well,
Now I don't care.
So I know the cultures we come from are very different, but obviously when Sina and I met, I'm much, much older than she is. How did you feel about that? And, obviously we've been together now 9 years, I think it is.
We always talk. She never liked young boys.
Right.
She always said, I need somebody to learn from, not to teach. Young boys are stupid. My age, she said. They don't know anything. I want somebody to be more wiser so I can learn something from. And I wasn't against it because I never liked younger boys.
Right.
My husband was 6 years older than me, but younger than me, no way. I don't even look at my age, even was a kid to me.
Right.
So I understood what he said.
Right.
I mean, if I was not, me and mine were not in love at the age, I might have married much older guy.
Right.
Because some people you don't have as much respect for younger men,
Right.
because younger men is all about fun and games. Men they mature later.
Well, it's
That's
funny.
the real thing.
What I think is interesting is I think if, as horrible as all the stuff that, you and the whole family went through, Sina included, I think because of that, even though she was 23 when I met her,
I had no problem to begin with.
No, I know you. No, it was. I always joke that my first mother-in-law didn't like me very much, so it's nice that my second one does. But
when your kid is happy,
right,
that's all you need.
that's what you would think, right? But it was interesting. I think because you went through all of that hardship, she was. I wouldn't say that she was necessarily mature. The way I guess I would say it is, she had the raw materials to become mature.
Yeah.
And so she became mature very fast. And, she had a little bit of a victim mentality when I met her, not much. And she got over it very quickly because I struggle with, like you, I think I struggle with people with the victim mentality, like poor me.
No.
It's like, you don't really know what bad really looks like.
Who cares?
Yeah. I think people don't care about your problems for the most part. Yeah. But she got over, but she was clearly super intelligent and very open-minded. Like, she wouldn't just take my opinion. She would have to be persuaded, but when presented with a persuasive argument about why I thought or felt or believed something, she'd be like, oh, now that you say that, that makes sense to me, or, oh, I don't agree, and here's why. But it was interesting to see her because she went from very, very immature to very, very mature in a very short period of time,
very fragile.
Like
she
18
was very fragile.
She was very fragile.
Very. Now she's not.
Yeah.
Now she's more confident. I always told her, you have to be confident.
Right.
Because if you don't have confidence, everything bothers you. Everything hurts you.
Yeah.
So it's just, don't worry about nothing. Don't worry about nobody.
Right.
And now, she worries. She doesn't worry about her. She have 2 friends.
Right.
That she loves, she's happy with.
Yeah.
You don't need any more friends.
Right.
For some people, like Sony, loves to have a lot of friends, and then she complains about them sometimes.
Right.
Sina, like the 2 friends she have, Jeremy and
Josephine.
Josephine.
Right.
They don't complain about her. She don't complain. They talk. They don't talk.
Right.
They don't expect anything from one another.
Right.
And they're real friends.
Yeah.
So it's better to have 2 friends than have 20 friends and they bother you all the time.
Yeah. Well, so this has been really fun. I just want to, in wrapping up, I wanted to ask 2 last questions. So one, if you could go back in time, pick whatever time frame you want, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. If you could give yourself one piece of advice, the younger version of you, what would that piece of advice be?
Honestly, my advice will be, if I was 18 again, with my mentality now, I will never get married.
Right.
I'll never have kids. I live the best life I can.
Right. So basically the advice you've given Sina. Well, actually the married part worked out okay, but yeah.
But you guys didn't do it just like that. It took 7 years.
Yeah, that's right.
That's when you know for sure, I don't want anybody.
Yeah.
The same thing with Sina. She never wanted to be married.
Yeah.
After 7 years, she said, I can't imagine myself with nobody.
Right.
But David, so why not?
Okay, so now my last question. 4 children couldn't be more different. Like, you couldn't meet 4 people that are more different than each other than your 4 children.
Each one of them.
If they didn't have the same parents, you'd say, well, what do they possibly have in common? I mean, they're all nice, but they're all so different.
They're all very different.
What advice, if you could give them one piece of advice today, what would it be?
What I always tell them, do not stress over life. Take things one thing at a time. Don't complain. Deal with things.
Right.
Dealing is much better than complaining. Complaining is stress. Don't get you nowhere.
Right.
And I always tell them, you fall, dust off, get up, go on.
Yep.
There's nothing you can do. If you keep crying that I fall, I got hurt.
Right.
Keep going. It's life. There's nothing you can do about it.
All right. So
That's
don't get
it.
married. Don't have kids. And
As much
quit-
as I
and
love my
quit-
kids,
quit
never
complaining.
regret it.
Right.
You don't regret having your kids, you know. You have
No,
a child.
I the fact that
One thing you never regret in your life, having your kids.
right.
And if your kid needs your heart, you're willing to give him your own heart. So
Right.
that's how much you love your kid.
Yep.
But I mean, if I go back, if I'm 18 again,
Yeah.
I will have great time in life.
Right.
I never get married,
Right.
never have children because
Right.
they're responsibility
Yeah.
and you have to live for them.
Yeah.
Because now I know life goes so fast.
Sure does.
Why give it to other people?
Yeah.
Why not just live it up yourself?
Well, I will say one last thing in closing. I think you're exactly right. I think that one of the interesting things about society is what's good for society is almost always not what's best for the individual.
No.
Right? Like, I
Everybody's
think
different.
like things like getting married and having children is good for society.
Because back in my day, that was it.
Well,
Finish school, you get married, you have children, that's your life. That was the mentality. I didn't know better.
right.
If I did, I wouldn't have gotten married.
Well, no, that,
Because I wanted to go to India
right.
to study medicine.
Okay.
And that's when I didn't want to be married.
Right.
I said, I'm not going to get married. I'm not going to
Yeah.
do anything. I'm going to go become a doctor.
Right.
That's when one of my friends, supposedly, which was jealous,
Right.
told my mom that I'm going to India because I want to elope with Humayun. And
Right.
at that time, I even broke up with him. It was total lie.
Mm.
My mom and dad then let me go to India,
Uh,
study medicine. So after that, I didn't care. When Humayun came, I said, I'm going to get married to get
Got
out
it.
of this. That's what I did.
it's funny how little things change the entire
That little thing
course of our
changed.
life.
I wanted
yeah.
to become a pilot. No, you can't be because it's all boys school.
Right.
I
Right.
didn't care if I went to all boys school.
Right. Right.
I was a boy. My
Right.
mom always said, God just made mistake.
Right.
You should have been a boy. I really didn't care to go. That's why I had orzo.
Right.
Play with the guys at 13. They didn't have softball.
Right.
I said, why can't she play baseball with the...
Right.
She played in boys team, baseball.
Right.
Because I didn't care that you're a boy or you're girls.
Yeah.
When I even grew up,
Mm.
we're all people. So they didn't let me go to become a pilot. I said, okay, then let me go to India and study, become a doctor.
Right.
My dad could afford it,
Hmm.
promised me. At the end, because somebody told him I eloped with Humayun
Right.
without asking me,
Hmm.
they said, no, you can't go. And they didn't give me a reason.
Right.
And finally, in California, one day after I got married, had kids, I told my mom, why you guys never let me go?
Right.
Oh, because this girl said that you're going to go and marry him.
Right.
I said, you didn't raise somebody who marries someone without your permission. I
Right.
would never done that to you.
Right.
Didn't you know that much, Mom? But
Mm.
she didn't know.
Parents make mistakes, that's for sure. We know
Parents
that.
are people too.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for doing this. I hope it wasn't too painful, but
No.
I really appreciate it. And it's wonderful having you in my family now.
Wonderful having you as son-in-law.
Oh, that's great.
Really.
Well, thank you so much.
So much for everything.